Welcome everybody, episode 27 of the Training121 PODCAST. I'm not doing my infomercial voice as the last one, I'm just talking as the normal G. Today, we are talking about...
G.
We are going to be discussing the underage structure in the Republic of Ireland for schoolboys and schoolgirls football, which includes the underage National League systems as well. We asked our Instagram followers just to type in some questions that they wanted us to discuss and answer. So I think we'll go through all those today, maybe some more that we come up with as well. A funny story on our knick-knack of the week. Niall gave us a great one in the previous podcast, but Gary, do you want to talk about why you didn't bring in your knick-knack of the week?
Basically, because Niall doesn't believe this. So I don't live in my original family home. So like when I moved out, I didn't bring like everything with me. So a lot of my stuff was just still sitting in my parents' house. So like, I literally went through my list of itinerary in my house. That's mine, and yeah, it's not that big.
10 items.
I can pull up the list. It's so funny.
I'm obviously forgetting things like clothes knocks, they're necessities. But I honestly was walking around my gaff last night for 30 minutes doing it, and I was like, oh, actually, okay, but this enough. I just accept G's disappointment.
I was disappointed when I saw the text come in. I saw the dots. I was like,
because you remind me, I thought I wouldn't have been able to get one anyway. So it was.
Yeah, like this fella. Here's his list, right? This is what Gary has in his current home: his laptop, his phone, his Apple Watch, so specific. Yeah, his AirPods, books, Marcelo Bielsa statue, stationery, notepads, coaching equipment, TV, Xbox.
Simple life, I gotta rate it.
And then like obviously clothes and like aftershave and all that stuff and
like yeah,
like
shampoo.
Your
like literally nothing of
substance.
Like sentiment, I suppose.
Yeah, hoarding.
Yeah, that's me. But everything's probably I could probably got 2 parents' house.
Do you not have any like picture frames or anything?
No, he doesn't. His missus designs the room.
Yeah.
Does she
Yeah,
not?
Yeah, I don't. There's no picture. That's mine.
Yeah,
Like on me, you Ava badges.
What about, can you tell us about your earliest childhood memories?
Niall. Speak to your microphone.
Oh, I picked it up, sorry. Can you tell us about your earliest childhood memories though? Just like, because there might be a story. Anything.
Oh,
like,
this is in school.
That's a great question.
just in case.
There has to be.
It's probably going to be a school one. I remember when I was learning how to ride a bike in my back garden, but like very vividly. Like I
Really?
remember falling over a lot. Yeah.
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 I've never seen you ride a bike ever. You used to walk everywhere. No, well,
It's fake. I lied.
No, but I mean,
never
like,
learned.
when you were younger and all.
No,
when we
I-
were
yeah.
hanging out and all. You used to walk everywhere.
That's probably yeah. I can't remember that in my back garden.
Big walk, right?
Sorry, John. Did you? Sorry.
Forget it. Move on.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were in school? They used to give a milk carton and everyone would race to get
The race
the race car. Yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy,
You
man.
probably
I thought it was only one
fuming. Do you remember like you get milk cartons and they all have pictures in the back?
Yeah,
Everyone wants a
never
race car.
experienced this.
Everyone wants a
the-
race car.
We
Those are
never
cultures,
experienced
that's
this. Yeah, we never experienced this.
Is this like a
serious?
cul-de-sac thing?
No,
Or
It was like, I think-
thing?
School?
No, I think it was
School.
to, it was
They
to
bring
promote.
in, they bring in cartons of milk, a big tray of cartons of milk, and they all have little pictures on the back of them, and everyone would race for the race car.
Like that.
There's only like a few race car
It
ones.
sounds like some rash.
Did
you not do it either?
100%.
I think it
No,
was
that's
Okay, no, it obviously is true, but it sounds.
I think
so
it was like
lame.
to promote milk, like kids drinking milk. I don't know. It
Hey,
was banging though.
it
Milk
worked
in
for me.
school, I felt it was banging. Yeah, I love
It was
milk.
top of the world, and I had the race car. Top of the world.
Big pecking order here for this milk carton.
What else was at play?
Yeah, what else was that playing?
There was a cow, which is it was cool. A cow playing the saxophone leaning against a fence, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
that's cooler.
yeah, it's not a race car. Is it? That's the only other one I remember.
Nah.
I'll look up.
You see,
You have to speed.
I guarantee you, the big
Young boy's dream,
bully,
man. Young boy's dream.
the big bully wanted the race car, and then everybody thought it was cool to have the race car. Whereas you really wanted the cow with the saxophone.
Nah, in my mature age, I look back and I think the cow with the saxophone would have been quite cool. However, in my youth, as I said, I seek the speed of the race car.
Oh my god.
Oh god, who's your man with this?
Morgan!
Yeah, no, who's your man?
Okay, you're the funniest person
That was
I know.
absolutely
I was
ridiculous.
listening to Aaron Frey Healy today, you're the funniest person I know.
You're up there, Karen.
So we have a current footballer, and
Super.
in his career he's won the young player and then just like the best player in the Premier League.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Hardly.
Yeah.
Sound of our plan.
Did he win the vote in the
Yeah,
same
he
year?
won in the
No?
same year. I
Thanks.
was trying to avoid saying that as well.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, we just had
See
off.
you next week, lads. Yeah. Sound. Good. Sound. Yeah. Thanks.
Was that just like...
I can see him with the 2 trophies. There's a picture of him with 2 trophies. When he sent the 2 trophies, I was went,
That's a serious
our
achievement.
belt.
That was your era, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
Such a
peak
ball.
my year. 2021. 12 years
That's
of
it.
age.
That's a serious achievement.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
unbelievable, yeah. Is that when he was that the year when he was scoring against Inter? Scored the double against Inter?
He was
No, it was
that was
2010,
breakthrough,
2011,
yeah.
I think.
When he was playing left back, he scored against Inter.
Was it?
Yeah, that was a
Randy
breakthrough.
did.
I think that could have even been his breakthrough game.
Yeah, it was. That they say
before
that he's. Yeah, that was the game he kind of.
Then he broke through it, and then that was the
That was
season when he
earlier.
scored against West Ham. And we scored the cracker against West
I
Ham.
remember watching
We
the
just
play
had scores
for
crackers every week.
Southampton,
Yeah.
and they were playing the game, and Fergie was at the game watching him play left full. It was the year before he went to
Oh,
Spurs.
really?
I remember watching it on TV, and like they actually only scored cut to like
Where
Fergie
was
in the
Bielsa?
Yeah, it's
Where
about.
was Bielsa? Where was
only
Mourinho?
Bladen,
Where
only
was
that.
Bielsa? And there was your Sam Alloy, he wasn't there. No chance. Fergie was there.
Did he get him?
No.
No.
Exactly.
Spurs have taken a few scalps of players, like Paul Gascoigne and all, under Fergie's nose.
Yeah, great choices, lads.
Hmm?
Wise.
All have been regretted.
Yeah, sound.
Well, I don't think Gareth Bale regrets Spurs now.
Ah, Bale. What a player. What a
Yeah, I
player.
think we were even talking about him earlier in the World Cup, how he played muck and still contributed. Bale's underrated.
Yeah, when he
Bale's
cares, when he
underrated.
cares, he wants it. He's quality.
Might be off it now. He is off it now.
Oh, doesn't care.
Madrid, he was one of the best players in the world.
On the
Could have
right.
been.
For a year, he only and then obviously that whole shenanigans on top, but player.
Yeah.
Player.
You want him in your team.
Someone actually asked me, is he the best British player of all time? And I said, absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And he was on the same page as me.
Yeah.
Rooney's well ahead of him if you just take
That's
one player
exactly what I
initially
said.
out of
That's
that.
exactly what I said.
Well,
Rooney,
hold on a minute now. I
Gerrard,
would say
Eto'o.
absolutely not. I think he's
He's up there.
I
But
think he's in there.
Oh, he's the best Welsh player. Shoot.
that's
Yeah,
it. That's
Maybe
even.
even not.
That's even.
Maybe even not.
Consistency
maybe
at the top.
Maybe you're right.
But then you have to think like Rooney, all the lads from like.
Rooney,
George
he's definitely
Garrett,
not the- he's definitely nowhere near
Scholes,
the
Terry.
best.
No,
British
George-
player.
Yeah,
No,
it's just-
no,
I think he's got way more
The
pedigree than John
1966
Terry.
World Cup.
He's got way more pedigree than John Terry.
Doesn't it? Wayne Rooney.
No,
I think he's alright, Wayne Rooney. More pedigree than Wayne Rooney.
hardly. You
No,
can't debate
I'm not. I'm trying to make a point here. I'm saying that he's not an absolutely not. I think he's within the top. Alright, I'm gonna say top 10 as just like a random number at the moment.
He might be top 10.
So he's not. He's in there.
No.
We'll
top
go
10.
through for we'll do a podcast on this top British players, and we'll debate it.
But everybody will just line him out now because he's Welsh.
No, I wouldn't rule out because he's Welsh. It's just consistency at the top.
I'd say that's something that stands for him because you don't want too many. You're trying to think around Wales, Scotland. I'd say, yeah.
Interesting.
Let's go on to the topic.
Yeah, we have the questions from the Instagram followers. So do you want to fire through
We'll
them?
go through the first one. Thank you to everyone for the questions, by the way. There's some very good ones there. Let's just jump into a simple enough one. Let's discuss the current conflict between the current leagues playing either winter football or summer football. How do we?
Just to clarify, which leagues are playing winter and summer. So your League of Ireland season is summer football, and the current DDSL calendar, just because we're based in Dublin, is winter football. Yeah. So, Gary, you can get that ball rolling from a coach who is involved in summer football.
Have coached in both.
Yeah.
Have I played in both?
You have played both.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I ever played a summer season.
Even when we were younger, we had one summer, like maybe you just can't
Did we?
remember. Yeah, one definitely was summer.
Right. Anyway, back to coaching. It is so much better in the summer. And the argument everyone always uses is players will be away and things like that. And yeah, people go away all the time. Nowadays, people go away all throughout the year. Back maybe 20, 30 years ago, people would always go in the summer. But now, people go away whenever. So that I don't really see that as an issue. Facilities obviously is a lot easier because we can play on grass pitches more. So I think the big issue is everything should be aligned with your senior season. And if that's not, it's a summer season in Ireland, then if it was a winter season in or like the Premier Division, the men's and the women's, then you would then match it with the underage. I think no matter what, that should be the more important issue. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much the argument right there.
Well, I'd argue for winter season because you're in school and it gives you routine after school.
Yeah.
You go to school, and especially schoolboy, if you're in school then you train in the evenings. Whereas if it's summer season, then you're just training in your summer. And your off season is when you're in school, which could work both ways, but I think it's good to have something.
It'd be cool with them the summer, so I'd always say this to players, you can actually finish school and then for 3 months like treat yourself like a footballer, to be honest, and go really take it serious and actually have a really good routine for your summer, and then you go back into school. Yeah.
If that's what you want, that is.
I think in a country like Ireland, the climate currently, weather-wise, I think it's kind of leaning more towards summer.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But there's games called off the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes purely down to playing football, summer football makes much more sense on a facility point of view. But Kinger, you made a good point there about schoolboy football. Is there a big difference between, like, does it make more sense for people who play football just purely for fitness levels and social reasons to keep in line with their school calendars? Because, well, your point there about making about the summer football, that you can actually get a dedicated few months to train before you go to school, or is that the winter football argument?
Oh no, I'm saying it's good for summer football to say that you can actually go to the player and give them a good routine structure.
Oh yeah,
and they can dedicate themselves to football.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, they're not playing during the school.
Sorry.
Would it make more sense for, for League of Ireland underage players to have a summer season, and for people who play football, let's just say for fun and social events, to go winter, because there's more routine and they get their summers off and stuff? They don't want to be committed to that when they're
too many issues that with the crossover then. People going National League to schoolboy, school with the National League.
And also, and the egos of people who think that they want to.
You know, it'd be deadly if it was like in the winter. There was like, if we had a better schools football. How bad is like
I was just
secondary schools football? Imagine there was like a serious secondary schools in the winter and then
like the rugby.
Football. Yeah,
so it's like the players are released into it. Yeah, because I was actually upset. I was like,
in America,
there wouldn't be. That's another thing about summer football. There's just less clash with school sports.
I couldn't play football in my school. I had no football team in my school. And I think my school still doesn't have a football team.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
we were the first football team in our school. We fought for it.
My fought for it was no.
Ga?
Sorry. Yeah, Ga.
Yeah, we were a huge Ga school as well.
Yeah.
That's actually a serious point here. In England, they do everything off the FA schools. Remember, you went over to Liverpool's schools board.
It's like all the best players from the Liverpool area. So there's obviously kids still in school and stuff, but it was like all the Liverpool players, Everton players, anyone else who was lingering around the area, they were sick, like, they were quality. But again, they weren't anywhere near as good as Liverpool themselves. Obviously at that academy age, what was that, bit like 14s, maybe? They popped us around, like they were a joke. We actually saw Raz play that day. He was playing against, do you remember Solo? Off Home Farm?
Yeah.
His team was playing against Raz.
Oh, yeah.
Also sick at the time. Raheem Sterling.
Oh,
no,
he was on Raz teams.
Huh? Yeah, me and Raz. Yeah. Me and Raz. Sick off. Anyway. Yeah, the school football currently in Ireland is awful. The structure is horrendous. Finn is only still playing obviously with minutes. But you were saying the other day that like they would play a league game, but since fixtures and all would clash, it counts your cup game as well. So if you lose the game, you're out of the cup.
That's your season over.
That's your season done.
Well.
What is the point? You get like 2 games if you're lucky. One or 2 games if you're lucky.
Season over.
Could be your season done if you lose the first game.
So
what is the point? What is the point?
Imagine
You do more trials than games.
Tournaments though, like, so you know people give out about the US being too short season in college?
Yeah.
Imagine that's though where like, let's say the summer season roughly for a National League was like March, April, it starts, finishes October, November. And imagine like, either in January and November there was like varsity kind of things at school, so like, I don't know, you done like regions to qualify, then it's like a tournament, they pick a venue and they make a weekend out or something. That'd be cool. Like.
Yeah, but then it goes into the issue. The biggest thing I find is a lot of teachers and stuff are like, well, you're missing school time.
Yeah.
That's generally the biggest issue. You're in school, you should be doing school things. But then my argument would be, you're there to like develop as a human, and team sports is probably the best thing to do that.
There's a structure on the GA as well, isn't it? If I'm not wrong, like, there'd be a decent enough structure on the GA.
Yeah, it's quite good. There's a long
We took the Leinsters very seriously
in school.
Yeah, I was really resentful of GAA because it got all of the attention.
Oh,
I was like, and like the way the teachers went on about it, the way they treated students and stuff at times. What was that, lads? I said like, because I knew there were some serious footballers in our year and in the year above us. I was like, these people are like, they're going on trial over in England, they're making caps underage. Like, you have no idea how tough that is. They're not getting like no like attention for it at all or any consideration.
They're not playing county.
Freak me. That's actually, they were great points, I have to say. That the emphasis on school football is huge. I think that's massive. And that's so controllable. The government's always like, there's an obesity crisis. in Ireland. The kids aren't playing enough sport. I said, well, you have it all in control in your schools. Put the resources
It's
in.
literally the one place you will get every child in that.
Yeah. And if they don't like football and they train with the football team and it's like, oh, he's actually very good at football. And then he might start to like it because he's really good at it.
100%. I mean,
Next
it's
question.
the control.
So what's the outcome? What are we saying?
Make a skills
It's-
league.
Well,
Definitely improve the school system.
You should change the summer football to match the senior league,
Yeah.
and then you can.
I think
improve the
as an
schools
overall
system.
argument, I think that's correct. I think the school point was also very interesting. I didn't even consider that. But I think, from my personal point of view, I think it has to align with your best league in the country. So the Women's National League, League of Ireland, Premier, and First Division. It's got to align with that. That's what I would say. So everyone's on the same page then.
Yeah.
And then if there is any interchanging, grand, no problems. Everyone's on the same schedule.
Like
It's
there's,
not
yeah, there's
some
arguments
weeks
for
this
both.
week.
At the end of the day, you
There
can
is.
pitch me arguments that are good and bad
Yeah.
for both at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but it should just still all align.
I would
And
agree.
people just
we're at
need
the
to accept that.
conclusion. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That is probably one of the most important things. It's maybe not so much underage, but it does tie in massively with underage. Is that National League clubs, so our Premier, Women's National League, First Division, lacking their actual own facilities. So like, what is there to be done about that? Because if your top teams in the country don't have their own facilities, I know obviously underage clubs are probably, some of them are probably better funded that they can get facilities, but everyone always gives out with facilities. What's the fix?
Money,
Is it though?
and then make the facilities.
Make
Well,
the
money is
facilities-
the biggest.
Make the facilities in the battle.
Capital is huge.
Yeah.
There is.
Well, that's
Capital is
fair
obviously
money.
very important. Maintenance is also very important. Can I say the amount of times I've gone to pitches and it's just not looked after. Now, and that's not everyone. Like for example, where we are in Cocock,
Unbelievable.
unbelievably well kept.
Yeah.
Brushed pretty much every single day by Bruno and Andy there. It's so good, it's so clean, there's no bottles, and when there is, like, it's gone within a couple of hours. It's not like it stays there.
Yeah.
And how teams, and especially when we come in on a Sunday after games, the way they leave it, players, staff, is disgraceful. Bottles, tape, no one cares. So like everyone giving out with facilities. Look after your own facility. Make sure it's spot on, make sure it's pristine. It doesn't have to be beautiful dressing rooms, can I say, because again, you need the capital to do that, but what you do have, look after it, please. Take care of it, and if someone comes into your environment, I'd like to think that like they go, okay, this is in a good space, I'm going to look after it as well. And that's one thing that's very controllable, is whatever you do have, take care of the goddamn thing. But yeah, like for National League, obviously you have Bows recently, they're with DCU, aren't they? So similar to like the UCD setup, obviously UCD have their own, but now you've got a college facility, you've got a gym setup, everyone's kind of in the one place as well, as far as I'm aware, everyone kind of trains in the one area. I think that's good, but again, this is your top League of Ireland, you
You
know.
look at the stadium they're building in Louth Gap that they funded 20 million for. Like, it's surely that's the issue is governmental in that sense.
Training centres, look at all the guard training centres.
Yeah.
I think even Loud have an unbelievable training
That's me.
centre.
And they've managed to raise 20 million for this.
Yeah.
Like,
Raising capital is a business skill. Like if you're trying to raise capital to, like if you're trying to raise like a Series A or a Series B for like a tech company, it's the same thing that football clubs need to do as well. If you can raise money for a business, you can raise money.
well,
for
the
a
Gal
football
one was
club.
governmental. Like. It
Yeah.
was the raising people to buy
Yeah,
citizenship, essentially, wasn't it?
that's a really innovative way of raising funds. I find people always like, oh, like, there's no money in football. I was like, if you actually zoom out, the money in football actually is nowhere near as big as people think it is compared to like what any sort of business is running on. Like football clubs, it really is like a matter of understanding how to take money from somebody's pocket and put it in your pocket. And there's a lot of value that clubs can bring because of the community feel. I find that a lot of people involved in football clubs don't think of the club as a business when they should, but that's not to the detriment of the club itself. I think people kind of see like, I've seen it with Bows a bit at times where it's like money and capitalism as like a social virtue is like frowned upon, so they'll like push that investment away when it's exactly what they need at times. I'm just using the Bows example because I think they portray a lot of like anti money or anti like capitalist ideas in that sense, whereas I find you can tip into that to your advantage. Like if the game is there, play it. Have ideas and resources that can attract capital that you can reinvest. And I find as well, money's so scarce for people in clubs and they can't find ways to bring it in, and they just straight away just like they need to put it into that person's pocket or that wage packet, or like people think that they should be on way more money than players than what they should be. Like when they're looking at the Premier League stats and inflation and all, like it's a tricky conversation. But they should definitely play the game of capitalism and have people in there that have the skill of raising capital.
Is the facilities question training or?
Just in general.
People own it.
Just in general, like mainly like owning facility, because no one really owns anything.
Yeah.
Even the best stadiums are council
I
run.
think it doesn't matter if you own it. You just need to have one place where this is where everyone trains. This is where we keep all our stuff. This is where everything is.
Yeah.
This is our base.
Well, that would be a start.
Yeah,
that would be
but that's the
You'd
simplest.
you'd ultimately want everyone to own it.
I like how Sean McGraw done it, to be honest with you.
They don't own it, though.
That's
do
it, they don't even know. That's what I mean.
But it was a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean, yeah. That's
I'm
like the
not
first
sure
step.
they own their grounds now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did.
No, they don't.
No, I'm talking about Rollstone.
I don't know if they
Oh,
own it.
I think they do.
I think they did. Boy,
No, they don't. It's
I thought they did. I thought there was something. I think I seen an article on it. But
No, I think it's.
I know it is.
I think it's a lease thing.
Irregardless, it's beautiful. Really well done.
Yeah, apart from them, there's not a lot of places that own anything really, or own just even training grounds or the stadium or one or the other.
Rovers is an interesting move. So like the DC thing with Balls, that they partnered with that Rollstone group for shared access to their facilities. I have no idea what the funding's like and how they actually manage that as a co-op, but
I seen a
very good.
I think a stat something like if you like something to do with tax in betting, because a lot of the I think a lot of the tax money from betting goes into horse racing and Ireland, and they said if it was raised by this certain percent, it went how much it would raise per each. You would give it 2 million to each of the clubs in Ireland per year from it, and it was like a marginal percent that was a tax to betting and all. So
That's bad.
there's lots of it is the problem child of sport in this country.
Yeah,
Sadly.
they need to get business people in.
If someone can raise 20 million in the government for a stadium, of gas stadium and loud, that says it all.
If you go down to
20
like the
damn
country,
million for a stadium.
yeah. If you go down the country to like in the middle of nowhere and you drive into a GAA club, the facilities are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Luke and Sarsfield set up, that's just one that springs to my mind because it's local enough to us. Wow. Now, I haven't been there in a while, but it is substantially big, very well kept. You've got enough of everything there that you'll ever need. And there's also like bars and stuff there where the money is going back into the club all the time. It's just non-stop revenue.
The 3-story clubhouse with a balcony.
It's unbelievable. Like
The Fianna beside Home Farm.
Also
Yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah, also lovely. Like facilities like that are crazy good. Like, I presume it's all government funded though.
They're everywhere though.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Mhm.
With the club like that.
Yeah. Obviously capital is important, so we were saying that, but
That-
getting the right
that's
people in the
that,
right
yeah.
places and allowing them right people to come in. Again, people don't want to change. Alan's going to say exactly how it is for the next 20 years if someone doesn't change something. So it has something has to give, like, and that could be one of the things that does it. Again, I can almost feel the comments and people reacting to when you were saying you need to get business people in there, because everyone's like, oh, football's just becoming a business. So we need to evolve. You
Well,
need
play
to-
the game.
Yeah,
I'm not
you need
saying
to
you need
evolve
to
it.
go against your
Mhm.
being core values. Like all the best football clubs, not all, most of the best football clubs in the world are public companies.
Yeah. Anyway, just get a lot of money, lads, will we? Get on it.
Also, look. It's another thing to talk. But I mean, like, we are our own self-generated football company. We've reinvested all of our capital, and who knows? Like, in 5 years, we might have our own team.
Imagine
Guys are in
that.
charge of that.
Imagine that. I'm not getting involved. I'm just supporting.
King of the assistant. Oh,
Kit
need a bit of banter.
Kitman.
Does it take?
Kitman.
No, it is being sad.
That'd be sick. Oh my.
You're getting
Oh, you're doing
sad.
great. You're doing great.
We're gonna have to listen back to this anyway.
Delete message.
I really like the Nike FC project. That'd be class to do for us.
Yeah, that stuff is cool.
Very
Very
content now.
That was sick.
The Nike Academy.
Oh, sorry, Nike.
Remember the Galaxy one? Remember the Samsung Galaxy one? Galaxy XI playing the aliens. Remember that thing?
The ad. You're talking about the ad.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was an ad at the start. I was like, oh my god. Well, obviously they didn't mention the alien part. Yeah. The Galaxy XI and they were naming all these fellas. This be deadly. Ronaldo and Messi are playing together and all on this day. I was like, this will be deadly.
The aliens.
And then there was some Chinese fella that I'd never heard of, and I was like, How was he on it?
It was picked in.
How was he on it?
That was a stupid thing to say. I love it. Again, I know we've been talking a little bit about National League, but one more question just to stay on it. The idea of currently we're seeing a lot more of it happening, but the transition from National League 17s-ish, but definitely 19s, both Women's National League and League of Ireland, to first team. Obviously, you're getting a lot more players in there who are getting a lot of success. But like, what's opinions on, first of all, signing pro contracts at a 16, 17 years old to 18, 19, depending on what age you're at, and that the actual goal of transitioning players from those levels of 17s, 19s into the first team. What's your opinions on it?
This is where I'm going to counter the point you made there earlier a bit, because this is clubs using a business mindset, I would say, and they're securing what they think are assets. Now, I would say currently that's not, I would say, in my opinion, obviously of course, I don't think it's the right thing to do, because I don't think you can provide them players with the standard of facilities, coaching, competition that you could if they went across, for example, to England, because obviously we don't even have a full-time structure in this country, never mind a fully competitive one. So I see an issue with that. I get why clubs do it, it makes sense, because you've got to, at the end of the day, take some money for the player that you developed. But if you're stopping a 16, 17 year old, and now you can't even go at 16 anyway, but the idea that you can get them in, have them on a pro deal for a couple of years, so then when they do go at 18, you can get an extra X, Y and Z, which works out sometimes, but there's probably 6 or 7 out of 10 of them cases a club isn't going to pay for that player that much, and then the player ends up just kind of falling down and through the cracks when they could have went away, let's say, for what would be a much cheaper fee, and maybe take their chance. So ethically, I don't agree with it, but that's clubs doing what you're saying.
It's one example of
It's
what
an example,
do.
yeah. I don't particularly agree with it, no.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't even say your point's contradictory in the sense that I agree with everything you said there. I think, I do understand why clubs are choosing to secure those assets, but that's the wrong way to raise capital. You're bringing in young, it's ethically wrong in the sense that you are playing with young people's careers and young people's mental health. There's much better ways and more ethical ways to raise capital for your business or your football club than tying young players down to contracts. And I come here, I do understand why clubs tie players to contracts essentially to get paid for the hours they put in. Like, if you were to put on an Excel sheet of the hours that coaches put in to that player, their hourly rate, the facility cost, that would add to a big figure, and they're probably seeing that Y figure of the expenses being toppled by the player sell in the asset side. So it'll make sense in the club side. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's ethically poor, and players need to have a real conversation with themselves.
Yeah, it's probably something that has to happen for the country to progress in a way.
Because you're making
I don't particularly like it, but like then you see the likes of Danny Mandreo gone for like, what was it, report, 50k or something. Something silly like for a player like him. So yeah, like it kind of probably has to happen. Like I said, I don't like it, but that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do for the country currently, or the right thing to do for a certain club. But yeah, I just don't really like it. I don't like the way it's used it's actually being used with players now as well, going the opposite way, where the player power is coming in, where some players are nearly demanding that at a young age, going, well, I'll move to another club if you won't give me a 2-year pro or whatever it is. Because you hear stories like that, and you're kind of like, you don't really know what you're playing with when you're trying to use them demands,
big time. That was my warning to players. Be very cautious of signing pro deals.
Contracts, you're locked in.
Unless you're Ronaldo, do an interview, out you go. By the way,
on RTE.
Absolute segue. Is this going to set a dangerous precedent with Ronaldo? Precedent?
Yeah, president.
President?
President.
Yeah.
Well, president.
You got it right here.
For players where if they want to leave the club, they just have a pop off them in an interview and they'll release them.
Yeah, I do think it's a step in the wrong direction.
Only high profile.
I was going to say Ronaldo can do it.
That's me, but like,
George Shelby's not going to do it.
yeah, but let's say,
Even
let's say
even-
Sancho came out and said, "Oh, this next year they'd have to get rid of Sancho then because he's playing for the club."
That's
Even-
kind of true.
The thing about walking down the
Martial
tunnel as well,
plays
like
it.
people are gonna start walking down the tunnel or walking off pitches and all over the gaff now. I'd say.
I don't think so.
I think
I
people
don't
schoolboys
think
like
we-
Ronaldo done it when doing it.
Oh
I
yeah.
swear to God,
Do
I
you reckon?
guarantee it.
Do you
I
reckon?
guarantee it.
I was thinking more so pros.
Yeah.
I seen that at Leicester City again, but I won't mention it. But after the Ronaldo thing, and they're all laughing.
No, you didn't.
Sorry, did I do? I won't mention it.
That's
It's very funny.
But they want a Ronaldo.
get a grip.
They want a Ronaldo.
Get a grip.
Nuts.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I think one of the best things that the current, so the one of the questions in there, and I was kind of subtly drawn in there, was the aim of 17s and 19s. Surely it's to get players straight to the first team. That should be the only aim for the 19s, and obviously provide a good footballing environment while they're in them clubs, but also get players into the senior system. That's why any sort of academy exists. And the other side, and in English clubs obviously you get away with it, they become assets, which for the likes of United and all become very valuable, because how many players do you see in the Premier League that are ex-United, ex-this, ex-that? They do talk a lot of money. That's not what we should be concerned about, though. These are multinational
That
firms.
goes back to Gary's
Yes,
thing. Manchester
that's what I'm
United
saying.
can put a player on a pro and give them everything.
Exactly.
that's just the
It's-
context.
yeah,
of what
exactly.
You can't. No club in Ireland can go. I can offer you what that English club. does."
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yes. But on the other hand, what I like currently with the National League 17s and 19s is the transition to first team, where not they're on contracts or not. Again, I know we brought him up before, but the likes of Killian Phillips getting minutes, so valuable senior minutes, jumping from 19 football to senior football, and you earn that move to go away. While a couple of, even when I was younger, not so long ago, 19s, the first team, it wasn't happening. It was not happening.
In fairness, a lot of clubs do actually play their
100%.
do play young lads. on
Which is
them.
great, which is absolutely great, because again, if you're a young footballer who wants to make a good career in the game, if you can get into senior football when you're ready, as young as possible, the better. Because if you're playing in senior environments, irregardless of the level, it's going to be beneficial to you without a doubt. So if you can get in them senior environments from a young age, especially if it could be First Division, Premier Division, Women's National League, that's a huge benefit that a lot of these younger male and female players are going to get. While if you go to a Cat 1 academy, Cat 2 academy, unless you're peak, so you look at Evan Ferguson now in and around the first team, on the bench, top player, if you're in and around 23s level and you're 19 to 21, you're in trouble if you don't get out of that club. It's very, very rare if you are anything older than 18, you're in the 23s, that you are going to make a substantial jump to that first team. Doesn't mean you have to go drop the level without a doubt and go play senior football.
That's. I think it's mad. Like, it's a mad situation where like all the teams in the Premier League, all the academy players, like they all go down and play Conference League 2, League 1. Whereas if you're in Ireland, you're starting there, you're getting games at that similar level, and then you can go across, which is almost kind of better, I think. Not better, but it's like you're coming over with that experience already, and they're like, oh,
rather than being sent back
being
down
there and
to
then
it,
sent out.
Yes.
And then brought back
What
in.
you're lacking in Ireland if you're playing senior football is the full-time football, the facilities, the this, the that, whatever. But you, underlying 90% of it is you're playing senior football. You're in and around men or women all day, every day, at a good level. A very good, well, not, I wouldn't say a top level, but we're at a good level at the moment. Some really good players in there. The system is getting a little bit better, but that value that they are getting from that is so much better on compared to game wise, I will say, or environment wise, in terms of you go to a United now. I'm just going to say United still top of my head. Facilities wise is going to be better, yes. Coaching is going to be better. Contact hours is going to be better. Just in general, yes. But they're not getting them senior minutes, and that is what you should be craving as a young footballer, is them senior minutes, irregardless of the level. So that's why I think the current 19s, 17s, 19s, 2 first team in Ireland, like that, you're getting 30, 40, 50 senior appearances before you can turn 20. That is so valuable as a young player.
Context is important here. The 2006 age group was the first age group for the inaugural 13s league. So I think we should only be judging this on when those 06 age groups are reaching 19s in the first team, because they're only coming into 17s now.
Yeah.
So they'll be the first players that have gone through the new structure of underage National League from 13s all the way up. And if the percentages are better, and this is the problem, and I had this for Ireland, even doing research for this podcast, it's so hard to get data on Irish football. I couldn't even give you a stat on how many players play football in Ireland under 18. I couldn't find anything. I was like, where's the data? Nothing. How the hell are they going to give me a percentage of how many players are in the 06 age group? Because people always come out on Twitter and just giving out shite about like, oh, the FAI this and the league ran and shite and all. I was like, excuse me, Twitter warrior. Where's your data? Where is your research? Where is your in the trenches experience here? You know what I mean? Like that's what people need to be thinking of. What are the hard numbers here? What are the hard numbers? How many players have come through? Who's played National League from 13s, 15s, 17s, 19s, and then into first team, or for the really top players, 13s, 15s, 17s, straight in first team. Give me the data. I won't be able to tell after the 06s until they're 21, I'd say. So what's that? 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 4 or 5 years. Come to me then.
Yeah.
Let us have a conversation. You know what I mean?
Slight rebuttal on myself because I just thought of it when you made a point there about pro environment. The new wage thing is very good for the league.
Yeah, good point.
The big issue I have with the 16 is that people are obviously putting lads on 50 quid a week, and calling them pros, which is scandalous. Whereas now obviously it's going to be, what's under 18, like 200 and something, isn't it?
And
it's
over 18 is like 410 or something like that.
Yeah,
I could be wrong,
that's a massive step, and a lot of people got mad about that on Twitter as well. And they're like, oh, clubs. And your man made a good point. He went, right, well, if you can't do that, then don't be a pro club. You don't have the money to. Don't be semi-pro or amateur, and then they're giving
Fact.
like your
It's really simple, isn't it? When you break it down. It's only 5 bags per bloke per day.
Next question.
I hate Twitter, by the way. I love Elon Musk and all, but I hate Twitter.
I love Twitter for coaching bits.
Big fan.
You follow good coaching pages.
Yeah, that's fair actually, Gary. Yeah, it's the same as anything, isn't it? Play the game.
This is a big knack. As I say, the social media world. I follow a blog who translates Marcelo Bielsa content. And it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that is fair, Gary. You know what?
Well, you can take very positive nuggets from Twitter.
I love Twitter, but I won't post. I wouldn't be a post.
Aye, same. But you follow the right people.
No, you're right there, Gary. I jumped the gun there, lads. You shouldn't be criticising the system.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
You're
right. Absolutely, you're right there. There's nuggets everywhere, Gary.
There is nuggets everywhere, but I will remain on Twitter.
There's a lot of crap on Twitter.
I will remain on
There's a lot
Twitter.
of bullying.
Tesla, give me free stuff.
You're not fair. Good coaching. I just send John.
You're absolutely right. You send me everything,
deals.
so, yeah. That's absolutely fine. You keep doing that, and we will have a great relationship.
You do find I love the Twitter pages that are like they just show you like JJ O'Connor run the muck against some team like 40 years ago.
You said there's days when I'm on the pitch in the off season daily. I'm not even joking. I'll be there for 4 or 5 hours. I come back to 7 WhatsApps, all different videos.
Yeah.
TikTok, Twitter, Twitter. Facebook comes in there every so often.
There's just these random.
It could be JJ O'Connor top 10 skill moves, and then we'll go to Ronaldinho, the best of all time, and then it'll just be little Tony Fawkner's 3 little bounce game. Like, right, fair enough. It's good though.
There's really good threads on it as well, like even for learning like good information. But it's by far the most like toxic online platform. Like it gives people a
TikTok's up there.
But like TikTok's up there, but that's like kind of hidden in the comments. The thing about Twitter is you go on and people can read just the way it's designed. You like someone could literally just be racist. They could have like 27,000 retweets, and then their 27,000 followers see it. Whereas a comment is like it can be.
It's a different platform. You need to be in the post to see the comment. Someone retweets, it could be anywhere. And any sort of interaction is met with. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. What is your opinion on parents in underage football?
God. I've had limited experience, I'm glad to say.
Dealing with parents?
Yeah, just in general, do you feel they're a little bit too involved in their kids' lives, in the coaching, in the whole spectrum of underage football?
I think the big thing is that staff don't set the correct boundaries with parents at all from the get-go.
Yeah, that's a big one. I'd put a count on less than one hand the amount of issues I've had in teams I've worked with parents because I had staff set the boundaries.
I've had a few issues with parents, I would say. Definitely when boundaries weren't set correctly.
Yeah.
Being cornered in rooms and all getting shouted at and stuff, it's not nice.
Sound hard on that, the G-man.
I think you should definitely set correct boundaries if you're staff. A big way to do that is to have a parents' code of conduct where you literally talk to the parents in the room, they sign the code of conduct and they understand the terms and conditions of working with the club. That's definitely a big thing, because it's the same thing. Like if you break any terms and conditions or contract, you can always refer back to the document and say, look, you broke this. Simple as. Have a witness. And when you're having conversations with parents, make sure there's always 2 people. That'd be always my advice to coaches listening, definitely. But my opinion on parents, if I'm being honest with you, I will always take you with a pinch of salt. and that's just being brutally honest. I think parents will feed you exactly what they want to say in your ear about their kid or about opinions, and they'll be saying the exact opposite about you, the coach, behind your back. And
couldn't agree more.
It's
a great way of putting it.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. As you're saying that, I was trying to think of interactions I've had with parents. Obviously, I don't want to get involved in club football. This is one of the reasons, as dealing with all this stuff, I have no interest in it. But I'm trying to think even now with T121. Obviously, you talk to some parents about kids and sessions and so on. But outside of that, if we're talking about club football or how the kids getting on or whatever, I don't think I've ever heard one positive thing ever said. It's always something going on to me about either the kid, the league the kid's in, the sessions that the kid's getting from the coaches aren't this. Not once has someone ever gone, oh yeah, he or she is really enjoying it and the coach is brilliant. Never once. It's always something negative, which is horrendous to think. Horrendous to think.
When you consider they're all volunteers as well.
They're all volunteers. The vast majority, obviously you're in a top National League team. Kinger's in the top women's national team in the country. You're in elite environments per se, right? You're definitely elite because you're the top of the division. Underage, you're the best of the level, of course.
Say elite.
I'm not going to say elite for underage for once. You're not elite if you're underage. But, like, so you're dealing with high competitive. Outside of that, 99% of football is for fun, and it should be. And like, it's a team sport, it's a fun environment, and everyone that's in it is volunteering to do it. Relax, please. It's so seriously taken, as it should be seriously taken. You want to look after it and do it, organise it well, but like that, set the boundaries. Just keep it as simple as possible. Everyone just has opinions on this and that, and again, you're entitled to opinions, but like these are just everyday people who are, I can see them, we see them every single day. I know Luke and United training, we are people quickly rushing, they're still trying to put their jacket on because they're fresh home from work. They have other things they could be doing with their life, like with their whole life. They could be doing anything in the world, but they are there training 18 kids, and you can imagine one or two of them kids are going to give them a handful for that day, and they have to look after every single one of them every single week, make sure the WhatsApp Kinger is spot on, make sure everything is spot on, and they never get anything but a thank you. It's not right.
Yeah, it's like what you said behind their back, it's always like,
it's not right, it's always negative.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think I'm not going to be here slating parents, but
I'm going to say
no, but I mean, I think it has to be said. I think parents need a serious wake-up call. And come here, I'm going to be saying things that are going to be triggering parents, and if they are triggering parents, and it's probably a reason why it's getting under your skin here. It's probably resonating somewhere. I definitely think that, and look, these are the conversations that I'm having with coaches or staff when I was in teams and clubs, and I was with schoolboys, and I was also in the National League as well, and we'd be constantly thinking, just saying, look, keep that parent at a hand's distance, don't listen to what they're saying, or just take that with a pinch of salt, and because we can smell the bullshit instantly, and it's just constantly toxic back and forth for 99% of parents.
It's a shame though, because it shouldn't be that way.
No,
it should be involved and inclusive and all that. Like,
100%.
Like I would have that approach where I would keep parents at an arm's distance, even no matter what team I would work with. But yeah, when you think about it, it should be way more like getting them involved. And I'm pretty sure there's definitely research about that proves that it's probably a good thing because it's a better environment and everyone's all on the same page.
But they know the kid more than anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they should do anyway.
Yeah, that's what
should do.
Like even Training121, I keep parents at an arm's distance. And if there's parents listening to this podcast, I personally don't appreciate when I'm doing a session and you come onto the Astro and start talking about your kid when there's clearly another hour there beforehand who have paid to be there and are working. I don't appreciate that. And like my opinion on parents as well, it isn't just about your kid. Just always remember that that manager knows things about other kids in the group that you don't, and there needs to be a certain amount of attention paid to some kids depending on learning disabilities or anything along those lines, and you're spinning a lot of plates as a coach. A lot of plates at times, and just going back to like Training121 and like our parents' relationships, I think we set the boundaries extremely well into the sense that all relationships that we have with parents, I would like to say now, are much more positive than what I experienced with team sessions, which is great. Like I know some parents now on a more personal level, but at the same time, it's still at arm's length, always.
Even in saying that, although I would say that I'd like to keep parents at arm's length, I still would never, if a parent was like, oh, can I ask this? I would be, yeah, fine.
Oh, 100%.
But like, that's where it comes like the boundaries of like you're setting guidelines or codes of conduct. Like 100% will answer any question or whatever, but there's a time and a place, and the time and place like that isn't when I'm in the middle of coaching a group of 10 kids. It's yes, I will answer whatever question you have. I'm very open and open to our policy and all that stuff. But yeah, it's like you still do keep parents at a distance, but you're also still welcoming in the same way. It's like you're trying to balance that, but I wouldn't like ever getting too close to two people like that.
Yeah, like you were saying there has to be a time and place. Like, for example, if I'm in the middle of a meeting and you just run into me and start talking to me, I'm like, what are you doing? Because clearly, but it seems like on a football pitch, or your coach, it's like accepted. Why? I'm in the middle of doing my job. The kids need the attention that we're about to give them. You can't just run on and start spieling for a while. And that's just one very specific example. But like you said, if someone wants to ask a genuine question, 100%. We answer them all the time. Obviously, it's a constant back and forth, and it should be. And again, I wish it was a little bit more inclusive.
Morgan got the call on Saturday at like 9 PM before from a random number, which is guaranteed to be a club.
Something to us unrelated, yeah.
At 9 PM?
9 PM on Saturday night.
I was going to say 9 AM. I thought that was about PM. It's way worse.
Like, I mean, that is like the day of non-work.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree with everything, but when is like the right time, do you think? Because like I feel like if someone asked me during a session, I'll be giving out. If someone asked me like straight after a session, get into my car, I'd be like, oh, he's after asking me to get into the car. If someone, yeah, or whenever, or if someone rings me, if someone rings me on an evening, I'm like, oh my god, who's this?
That's fair then.
I would always say never talk to the managers on a match day, because you're either fuming, they're either fuming, your kid's fuming. I've never seen a meeting happen on a match day and work out well. So never discuss that on a match day. I would say pre-arrange it, pre or post training. It's so simple. Hi Gary, can I have a 5-minute chat with you before the session? Little Jimmy is worried about this or whatever. But again, if a parent rings you and is getting flustered with your I'll meet you before the session or after, and like Gary said, bring someone else in. So it would be you, another coach, or even another parent, to be honest, someone as a fresh
third party,
yeah.
So it's not emotional.
And then the kid, obviously, if you need the kid in it. But that's guidelines, I'd say. No one can hear coach on a match day.
I think
if you're getting conked 5-0 and you're fuming, they're probably not too happy.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well.
No, I think it was important though that we were giving out about it to say like what we would
the solution
think is the right thing to
100%.
do.
Yeah, I mean, parents, we want to be your allies, but I will keep you at an arm's distance at all times.
At relevant times, yes.
And when I come here, here's me being a big bad wolf. I've had many conversations with parents for hours on the phone, but at the right time, they've asked me, like, can I have a call with you? What time works for you?
Yeah, that's
respect each other's time is very important.
You know, like what time works for you? It's like because we're a business, like I'm the customer, me, all the time. And to be fair, that is business. But I mean, we're humans at the end of the day.
Cohesion. Time in coaching, especially and it's a very relevant point. Time, especially in supplemental coaching, we do 3 hours. Every session is pretty much different. So the minute or two turnover from 6 to 7 PM to 7 to 8 PM is key. So we can set up the correct session at the correct time, so we do not waste a moment in that session 100%. Because people are paying to be there. So that's why it's so valuable that we spend as much time working while we're at work. As simple as that sounds, but that's why time is very, very important. Very, very important. So like that, if someone asks you for a 5-minute meeting, we're not talking for half an hour, because I've got a session to do and you have something to do, I presume. So let's make a 5-minute meeting a 5-minute meeting. Time is very valuable for everyone, I hope. So everyone needs to appreciate each other's time, because time is so valuable.
There's a hierarchy of communication. Like if it's not life or death, don't meet me face to face. If it's 5 minutes, give me a phone call. If you don't need a phone call, email me. If you don't want to email me, text me, and you can literally just keep going down that. And then it's never crisis circumstances of in person. I've seen you, I've seen him, I've seen me have conversations with parents that have taken 5 minutes, 10 minutes when it could have been just a quick text message. And it took over time that was not your time. It's people's hour that they pay for the services. Look, I mean, maybe I'm being a bit harsh here, but this is my opinion. It's the 2 cents that I've seen in the 12 years I've been coaching, from team and supplementary sides.
So boundaries are important. Set a time. Someone wants to genuinely communicate, and 99% of the time, someone actually wants a genuine conversation.
Just be a bit more positive about.
Be positive about volunteers and other people, please. Lord have mercy, no one is perfect. Like, I would love to go in and criticise you for your job. Like, imagine going into someone and going, you're doing that wrong, you're doing that wrong, you're doing that wrong, and you're getting paid for it.
Yeah,
volunteer
knows what people say about us.
well, fair enough. Listen, you have every right to give an opinion, but like, come on. I'll go with this one. We subtly talked about it earlier, but we're seeing a lot more now. And again, underage kind of elite football and so on. Elite, I'm not going to say elite again, underage, but agents for younger players. Thoughts?
I think it's important if you find the right agent.
Yeah.
It's positive. I think it's a good thing, especially if your goal is to play in England
How are you?
or Europe.
How are you?
Well, you're looking at people getting agents, what, now 16 to about
16, yeah.
ish. One thing I will say is be very careful. Be very vigilant. Be very aware of who you are talking to, what they represent, who they represent, because the majority, 99% of footballers out there, like I said, are not going to be making that level. You won't be getting there. So if someone's approaching you, you need to be very self-aware and be like, right, is this going to be my thing, and who am I actually talking to? Like, there's a lot of spoofers out there. There's a lot of people contacting and doing some dangerous stuff in the football game. So just be very careful who you're actually getting into bed with and who you're communicating with. Because once you sign that contract, you're an asset. You could be in real trouble. So you have to really trust whoever you're going into a relationship with. Because that agency in football is very important, that you get on with someone and they have the best interest for you. Everyone's going to say they have the best interest for you. Obviously, they're not going to pitch you something that doesn't seem interesting to you, but make sure you trust them big time. We obviously know a few that are really good people, but we've heard horror stories of people locked into terrible contracts or having dealings with people, and it's not good. Just be really really careful for if any younger players listen to this. Be very self-aware of yourself, but also know who you're talking to, because some dodgy things going on.
I think they're beneficial there, but I think you have to know what they want as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's their livelihood, and I think the relationship thing is huge. Like, if they want the best for you, or if they want, I don't know, drive a fancy car and throw on Instagram, like, you know what I mean? Like, it depends what they want, and then if they want the best for you, then you're in a good spot, I'd say. That's the simplest way to put it.
I think it's fairly, now from the outside, I think it's pretty easy to suss that out. If you go
for us, but it might be for
maybe.
14 or 15.
Yeah, definitely, but that's when parents need to get involved. Yeah, but so I know you're dead right. It is it, but yeah, for that, obviously we're in the game of football. We see it. You could show me someone, and within a 2-minute conversation or just having a look at their general overview of what they're doing, you could tell pretty quickly what's going on, going on with their lifestyle. It's very important that, again, this is a relationship. So much like picking a team, you have to be in a good relationship with these people, because when it's good, everything's going to be good. When it's bad, where are they? Because of how many I've heard multiple, especially over the last couple of years, with even senior players, when times are going bad, they're gone, out the window, won't see them, and that's horrendous. This is a player's livelihood. Gotta look after them, especially in the times of need.
This one, I think agents are a very positive thing to the right player at the right time. And I think a lot of people chase agents who are nowhere near professional football, or don't even have the mental capacity for it. There's a lot of self-awareness needed. Yeah, I think if you are really at that level and you think that you can, I'm not saying you can think, I mean, you know that there's a chance there somewhere that you can play a better level. So I'm going to say a better level in the context of you can make a living playing the game, then you will need an agent to get you in the door. That's what they are. People that can get you in the door and give you best advice. But at 16 to 18 it's tricky. I mean, if you look at some of the best underage players in the country now, a lot of them have agents. I don't think that's any coincidence. Especially for people who are playing now in Europe and all. So, what do you think, Gary, for working? What would you think if one of your players had an agent? Probably do, some of them did it.
No, not
or probably you're in talks with agents.
Probably, yeah. No.
Hiding it.
Hiding it, yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, sorry. Like any of your like closest, let's say, lieutenants in your life, or people like your friends, key stakeholders, or so to speak, in your life, you should always or you should never surround yourself by yes men. And I think you hear stories about agents, and do you remember the thing on the podcast? Is it Keith Tracy?
Oh,
Do you listen to that podcast on Talking Bollocks where, and he was talking about, he was like driving, he didn't have a licence, and he got his agent to get him a like BMW Jeep, and he got caught driving it and all. And his agent was like, oh no, we'll do this, that. And he's like, he said, my agent should have turned around to me and said, what are you doing?
He said something real interesting. He was like, if I had said, or if he asked his agent, he knew his agent was going to get it from him.
Yeah.
Oh,
if his agent had said no, he would have sacked him off.
Yeah, and got another one.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that idea where you should definitely find someone who will tell you when you're doing something wrong, who is the yes man essentially. And I think your friend should be like that to you too, you know, tell you what's right, not what you want to hear necessarily all the time. So I think that's important. Like you said, right person, right time, and like that. You think like you don't need an agent if you're not going to make a living or be at that kind of semi-pro level where you might make a living from football, because then it kind of defeats the purpose. You're going to be
paying for
something that you don't really need, to be honest. So self-awareness as well. I'll be
Amazon probably didn't
good
know.
agent.
Do you reckon I'd be a good agent? Don't have the contacts. Not
Sure.
is he good?
Don't have the car either.
You'd be good. Yeah. Agent.
I actually know some people that would be great agents who have contacts and who have great business acumen and great personalities. Be great agents.
Shells. Yeah, any good?
I think
I'm having on a holiday. Reading in a month.
I think people need to be very aware of phishing scams on the likes of LinkedIn and all these other all these other social media platforms. People claim to be agents that they'll get you trials and all these open events and stuff. Do your research, people. Especially if it's somebody working on behalf of an agency. Especially if they're English. Actually that's what England's great for. You can get a lot of good details on businesses on Company House. All the details are there, and you can really see and vet these companies. Off the top of my head, I can really think of the best 4 or 5 agencies. Then if you can use that as your benchmark, and if people are working on behalf of them, then you can really just reverse engineer the research. People don't want to read though. People don't want to read the data.
Which again, people don't want to do the work.
Yeah,
it's not the idea of it.
I'm
an agent, putting it in their bio down on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm an agent.
Oh, that freaks me out. People who are on amateur contracts who have their agent's name or agency in their bio freaks me out.
That'll be a part of the contract though.
No, it's off like that.
100%.
Sorry, bleep it out. But that freaks me. That's such a power trip that is.
That'll be part of the contract, and also things about getting like this is no good.
Where's the red flag?
There's red flags everywhere.
Like I will get you an official Instagram page.
I'll get you verified on Instagram. So what? So what? How does that help me? People like talking about building their personal brand. You're not Ronaldo. Go play a senior game first, please, and thank you before you worry about getting verified on Instagram. That stuff.
Gary said I'll be walking in here frustrated. I'm getting a bit.
That freaks me out. That's now. Control the goddamn controllables. Get yourself some senior minutes. Then worry about everything else, please, and thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you to everyone for the questions.
Questions.
We probably missed a few, but hopefully we covered the vast majority of hopefully what people wanted to listen to. We'll do more of these surely. We've done one before, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that was quite successful. People like to hear our opinions on it. Yeah. Where'd you go?
The last one we done was a bit more in the weeds of the
National
League, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was at the time when 13s went to 14s, isn't that correct?
Oh, it was when they.
And everyone was like, well, that's terrible.
No, yeah, it was
The first answer to everything that people
that's
say.
terrible. Change. Oh, terrible. Davey, terrible. Kinger? G, terrible. Sorry, G, go on. Daily, I'm joking.
Yeah, it is the outro. Thank you everyone as always for listening to the Training121 podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening to this, please make sure that you follow us across all social media platforms, which include Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and TikTok. If you are listening to this podcast specifically on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, you can leave anywhere up to a 5-star review. We'll never ask you to leave a 5-star review. Please leave an honest review based on what you think and if you got some sort of entertainment or value from this podcast. As always, thank you very much and goodbye.